Welcome to In Fearless Conversation, a podcast from 261 Fearless, where every discussion is an opportunity to shape the future. I'm your host, Kim Chafee, and together we'll explore any topic that impacts a woman's quality of life, from leadership and personal growth to health and financial security. Join me and discover how a fearless conversation can shape the future you deserve. Hey everyone, welcome back to In Fearless Conversation. Our guest today is Sandra Cotterell. She is a retired nurse with 45 years of healthcare experience, particularly in community health, and she's also a 261 Fearless coach. We wanted to talk with Sandra today about the power of a late start, because Sandra started her running journey at the age of 64. She started with the 12-week Activate You program from 261 Fearless, and her running journey has just skyrocketed since then. We talk about how we need to remove the phrase too late from our vocabulary. We also talk about the benefits of having a community, how important it is to have a community, no matter when you start your running journey or where you are on your running journey. We talk about the importance of finding your why and how that keeps you going. We talk about the importance of having fun and discipline and consistency. We talk about so many great things in this episode, and I'm excited for you to hear Sandra's perspective about starting her running journey at age 64. So let's get into it. Okay, so welcome to In Fearless Conversation, Sandra. Why don't we start by you just telling our listeners a little bit about yourself?
I am a nurse by background, so worked in healthcare for over 45 years as a clinician, did some work with a managed care company, but the most impactful part of my nursing career was the 30 years I spent in community health and public health, where I served as the CEO of Cobden Square Health Center before retiring, and really got a look at the impact of just prevention and health and wellness on from a holistic perspective, working in that community setting. And so that was, as you can tell, the most passionate part of my career, and recently retired from that. It's been over a year, but with all of my my continued health and wellness work and the work that I do with 261, and still serve on public health boards. So I feel like I still stay engaged in the profession, even though I'm retired.
And we have you on today because it sounds like health and wellness has been a part of your life for your whole career, but running hasn't always been a part of your life, from what I understand. So take us back to the moment when you decided to start running, and how old were you when that moment happened?
So I was 64, just about getting to 65, and I remember that, I think when you hit milestones in age, you start to think about, what is it that you want to do? And as I was approaching 65, I was thinking, okay, for me, my wellness journey and staying healthy was front and center for me. And so I was looking at ways that I could continue to stay active and healthy as I age in life. And so always active in terms of trying to get to the gym, try to do fitness, enjoyed walking. And I reflected on, didn't think about running. I was just thinking, when I thought about, I was actually at HealthWorks Community Fitness, which is the health and wellness center affiliated with the Cobden Square Health Center. And I had just finished their Women's Be Fit program. And they were working with each and every one of us to say, okay, now that you're done with this program, how do you continue to stay active? And so 261, through Katina, was launching an Activate You program at that location, and it was something that was offered to all of us and encouraged us to do it. And so I'm like, well, it's at that time for me, running was a faster version of walking. I was
Hmm.
like, I can do this. This is just, a little faster movement, and it's something that will keep me, active and part of my health and wellness journey. So, but I did start at 64, and soon after participating in Activate You, I turned 65, and the mindset was not about running as much as it was about what am I going to do to stay active as and healthy.
So tell us a little bit about Activate You, because I'm not sure that everyone listening to the podcast is familiar with this 12-week program that 261 Fearless offers.
Yeah, so it is a 12-week program, and I feel like it's designed to really support women on their journey of movement, meeting them where they're at. But really, because it's a 12-week program, it provides a lot of structure on exercises and just things that you have to do or should do to keep yourself both healthy, but also giving you the tools and the skills on your movement journey. So I feel like it gives you a 12-week foundation that really is, really based on those core things that you should do for your body as you're starting this journey. So I did that 12-week program, and that was the foundation to get me started and launched into my running journey.
Yeah. And quite a journey it has been. I wonder, I mean, it sounds like you just kind of made a decision and just went for it, but were there
That's,
ever fears or doubts at the beginning, or maybe even like midway through? Like, what am I thinking? Was there
yeah.
any of that?
So, it's interesting. I think that because I did not know about like really the journey of running, there were no fears. I felt like it's kind of like you don't know what you don't know. So
Sure.
you can't be afraid of what you don't know. But I do think that for me it was more of I'm doing this for me. It was more of a health and wellness goal, and I was going to kind of figure it out as I learned more about it. But initially going in, it was like, this is about me and my health and wellness journey, and I'm committed to it, and I'm going to try it. And I think that, and having the structure of the Activate You program, I felt like I was going into what I called a supportive environment. I had the support of a structure. So I was excited to have that resource and to start my health and wellness journey.
Our community and support is, I think, essential no matter what age you're starting your running journey.
That's exactly.
And I think that the Activate You program is great for that. And then as well, the 261 Fearless meet runs are also, the big part in that is the support and the community piece. So no matter where you're at in your running journey, that's a huge
Absolutely.
piece of it. What were some of the biggest challenges that you faced, you think, as starting later in life for your to start running? Was there
Yeah.
something specific that was really challenging for you?
The one thing that I realized and was the fact that I was concerned with staying healthy. So, you always hear about as we age, our joints, this, that. And so that was the one thing as I started that I wanted to make sure that I stayed healthy and injury free.
Hmm.
And so I did have probably about a year into it one incident where like my knee was bothering me, and then I realized that in order to continue my journey that I needed to do strength training. It wasn't just
Mm-hmm.
about running. And so I took to overcome that fear of injury, I started to incorporate strength training into my routine. And then I do things like yoga or Pilates reformer training just to make sure that I'm stretched out. And I will tell you, knock on wood, so far that has been really helpful on the journey. And I feel like whenever I'm out there and I'm running and I'm doing long runs, typically I feel good. And I think it's because I've added that level of discipline. But I think that that was, one of the earlier challenges. But I soon realized what I needed to do to manage that, and that
Mm-hmm.
consistency and discipline with the strength and the other kinds of things to incorporate in my running journey has been really helpful.
That's a really good point. Balancing out the running with those other pieces that are just as important for overall health and to maintain being injury free. Absolutely. But you said a word there that I think is super important, which is discipline. And I think
Mhm.
that that can be really, really hard, no matter the age. How have you always been a disciplined person with your health and wellness, or is this something that has come with age and wisdom? Does it get easier?
No, I think it does come with age and time. I've always been an organizer, but I do find that discipline is a mindset, and I think that at any part of one's journey it can be a challenge. I think for me personally, I have found that developing a schedule and sticking with that schedule has helped with my discipline. And we talked about it earlier, having a sense of community is
Hmm.
important. So when I have to show up for a run meet, or when I have three or four friends that, we're meeting to do a short run or a long run, like creating, if you know that some people are really good, they can create a schedule, they can stick with that schedule. Some people need, accountability systems, and sometimes knowing that you have to show up to meet someone helps you with that discipline. And so those are things. It's a mindset, and you just have to kind of look at the different tools that work for you, and
Hmm.
everybody's different. Some people feel like they've got to start their day doing something, or they're not going to get it. Some people feel like their mornings are too busy, they have to do something in the afternoon. Some people like me love the accountability of having meets and friends to meet with and a schedule. But I think it's worth digging deep into yourself and trying different things and figure out what works best. And once you have that, make that your schedule and be consistent with it.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're saying that not everyone your running routine doesn't have to be the same as everyone else's, right? Your exercise routine doesn't have to be the same as everyone else's. It's really individualized and personal, and you need to figure out what works for you and your schedule and then build your routine off of that, which I think is really smart. I think a lot of times we fall into the trap of, oh, I have to get my workout done first thing in the morning, and then if you don't, then you just think, well, there's the day. I'm just not getting it in today, instead of figuring out, okay, well, maybe mornings are not the best time for you, and finding a spot that works better and to help you with the discipline and staying consistent. So I hear you saying that you don't always want to work out or run or go somewhere, but the accountability factor is extremely helpful.
Yeah. And I remember, there were times where, I had my kids were younger and they had sports, and then there was work and there were meetings, and I would literally take a look at my schedule for the week and then figure out when I could fit things in. And so
Mm,
making sure that you can be flexible but be consistent is important, because you don't want to sabotage yourself by always, scheduling your activities on times where you have to be somewhere else, or it's going to conflict, because then we can find ourselves never doing anything. And so
hmm.
and that becomes a barrier to our success or our.
Right. Yeah. And then it's the whole mental piece of that where you don't get it in and then you're mad at yourself for not getting it in. And then it's a dangerous spiral. I think we've all experienced a time or two over the years. I'm wondering how starting later in life, your running journey, how has that changed the way you see yourself? Like as a runner, but also beyond running.
Yeah, I feel like, and I often hear this, but I feel like age doesn't define us,
Hmm.
that it's just a number, and that I feel like I don't let the fact that I'm, 67 be a number that says, oh, you're this age now, you can't do something. And so I feel like for me it just shows that it is truly just a number, and that we're strong and resistant beyond that number, and that we're capable of doing anything. It's just setting forth a plan and having a way of how we're going to approach it. But just because we're older does not mean that we can't put ourselves out there and try new things, do new things, and accomplish a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you've accomplished a lot already in your running journey because I know last year was pretty special for you. You had something extraordinary that you took on and with your daughter,
That's
correct?
right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I ran the Every Woman's Marathon in Savannah, and that was my very first marathon. And I was probably a year and a half in my running journey when I took that on. And you're
Incredible.
right, I did it with my daughter, and it was an amazing experience. They always say when you're running with a group, it's your race, your pace, but I made the decision to do it with her, and it was a great experience. We crossed that finish line together, and it gave me insight and perspective as to, again, for me, age is just a number. I felt strong and good, and I let my training and everything that I've done with my run meets and all of the work learned through the Activate You program, I let that carry me, and it got me through. It got me through the finish line, and Catherine was there to greet us at the finish. Great. It was a good feeling, and it just goes to show that if you're committed, dedicated, have a plan, that anything's possible.
I love that. So for people who are listening, who may be thinking it's too late to begin their running journey or their fitness journey or really anything in life. It doesn't necessarily have to be running, right? What words of encouragement or even practical advice would you share with them?
Yeah. So I would say it's never too late. So we should get that out of our head.
Yes, that
If
phrase needs to go away.
And if we have a goal, that we should do everything that we feel that is important to support us with that. I think that starting slow is important. Don't get out there and try to do too much too quick. Start your journey slow. Find like-minded groups or people to support you on that journey, whether it's a 261 Activate You, whether it's a run meet in your neighborhood community. I find that there's several resource centers that have walking groups for elders, that everybody understands the importance of movement in our life. And so there are lots of, so take the time to find the resources that are out there in the community, participate in those as you're on this slow trajectory. Find your support systems. Support systems are great to keep you motivated. They're great to help with accountability. And so I think that those are also important. Have that plan and be consistent and find your why. And because it will get hard.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, if you find your why and you have those systems of accountability and you start slow, then you can, achieve the goal. And having those resources and supports around you are very important. But don't let your age or where you're starting in your journey be the barrier for getting out there and trying.
Yeah, I
And
like that.
most of
Start
all,
small.
have fun with it.
Yeah.
I find that there are days where I'm like, it's cold or the weather is too hot, but I get out there and afterwards, I embrace the journey and it's fun. And afterwards, I look back and I'm like, I did it. And so
Yeah.
at the end of the day, fun and enjoying what you do keeps you motivated. So think of it as something that you're doing for yourself, but enjoy what you're doing. Find your passion.
Yes. I think that's really important. Fun, I think, is underrated. Like we need to be having so much more fun in our lives and
Absolutely.
just stop taking ourselves so seriously because really laughter is so healing, right? And
Totally
I
agree.
I feel like when you can like let your barrier, your guard down a bit and just allow yourself to be a little silly and laugh with other people, it's like this vulnerable joy that you feel. It's hard. I think it's hard. You can't plan it, right? It's just a natural kind of thing that occurs. But when it does, it's just like therapeutic, right? It just heals your soul, I feel like. And I think that 261 does a lot of that, which is really great. And I think one thing I want to touch upon too that I think is so special about you, not that there's not many things that are so special about you, Sandra, but one of the things is that not only have you started this journey for yourself, but you're now kind of paying it forward, right? Because you're a 261 fearless coach.
Yes.
So why did you decide to take that step?
Yeah, I think I look back and even though I started as a nurse and then went into leadership. I feel like as a nurse, it's about taking care and giving back. It's part of our DNA. And for me, I did it for two reasons. One, it continues to be motivation and support for me personally, and it helps me hold myself accountable when I know that I'm responsible for coaching and mentoring others. But I've always felt like it's important to give back. And if I've been able to learn something and I can help others on their journey, I want to do that because for that reasons that you just said, it makes me feel good when I can look around and see that someone's benefiting from something that I've taught them. I've had opportunities to see some women that I've coached barely be able to walk a half a mile and then after to see that they're walking further and they're feeling good about themselves, that just brings me a lot of personal joy and gratitude. And so I enjoy giving back. I get a lot of it's a special feeling for me to play that forward. It's always been something that I've enjoyed doing. So it's been fun and I've met some amazing women on that journey. And so I enjoy it every day. And last week at our run meet, we had a group of women. We were doing a game and everybody had so much fun and laughter. And I always like whether it's bringing music and engaging them through dance or whatever. And it's just so much fun. So I always feel good about giving back. So.
I love that. We're so glad to have you. Okay, so we're reaching the end of our time. And one of the things that we like to do at the end of our podcast episodes is a little bit of a rapid fire kind of just fun, lighthearted questions because we do like to have fun. You don't have to give these too much thought. They're not deep. They're just gonna throw them out there. Whatever comes to your mind first. What's your favorite post-run treat? What's something you like to just indulge in after a run?
Something chocolate. So usually it's a chocolate smoothie. Yeah.
Delicious. Okay, vacation mode. Would you prefer going to the lake or the beach?
I like the beach. Yes.
I mean, I feel like you can't go wrong with either of those choices, but the beach
Right.
is
It's water.
exactly. Okay, what's one word you would use to describe your running journey?
Um, One word. I'm gonna say um fun, because it has been fun, and it's been fun and exciting, and so I still, you can see the enthusiasm. I love it.
Yes.
And so, you know, there are people who are like, it's fun, really, but no,
Yeah, I
I
know.
I enjoy it. It's been fun for me, and so I'm gonna
Fun.
stick with that word.
TV or book?
TV.
Okay, what's one of your favorite TV shows?
I'm a big SUV kind of, so I like
Mm-hmm.
crime. I'm a big
Yeah.
sports. Big sports junkie. So this is my
Okay.
happy season right now. But if
Yes.
normally watching TV, it's some kind of detective kind of shows.
Also a sports fan. So yes, it's football season and
Yes.
I'm very excited about that. Okay, a last one. What's something that has made you laugh lately or makes you laugh no matter when you see it or hear it or something that makes you laugh?
Something that makes me laugh. I think, I'm always laughing. It doesn't take much to make me laugh, but I think at my run meets, whenever I'm with a group and somebody says something,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I find a lot of joy in that. So you're always going to find that at run meets. I'm always kind of having fun and laughing. So I think what makes me laugh is just being around people, and so that brings a lot of joy to me. So I'm always kind of, laughing at anything that someone might say. I always find the joy in things.
A big thank you to Sandra for joining us today and sharing her perspective about her journey starting at 64. It is never too late. If there's anything we take away from this conversation, please let it be that. It is never too late to start or to start again. Maybe you were a runner years ago and life happened and you haven't been running, but you've been thinking about getting back. It's never too late to start again or to start for the first time. Thank you, Sandra, for reminding us about this. If you want to learn more about 261 Fearless, about our Activate You program, or about our running clubs around the world, visit us at 261fearless.org. We'll see you next week for another episode of In Fearless Conversation, The Inner Monologue. Until then, stay fearless.